Have you ever considered how deep the cultural ties between Russia and Ukraine might be? In the vast expanse of history, the roots of these two nations intertwine like the threads of an ancient tapestry. Our journey begins in the mists of time, with the early Slavic tribes that roamed the vast steppes of Eastern Europe. These were the ancestors of both Russians and Ukrainians, bound by common language, shared spiritual beliefs, and a collective way of life. As the centuries rolled on, the scattered tribes gradually coalesced into a unified entity. This entity was known as Kievan Ruses, the first East Slavic state, a beacon of civilization amidst the wilderness. The city of Kiev, now the capital of Ukraine, was the heart of this state. It was here that the seeds of a shared cultural identity were sown. These seeds would grow and flourish, nurtured by shared elements of culture. Language was one such element, with the Old East Slavic tongue serving as a common thread that bound the people together. Religion, too, played a crucial role. The adoption of Christianity by the Kievan Ruses in the 10th century would have profound implications, shaping the spiritual landscape of the region for centuries to come. Customs and traditions, the lifeblood of any culture, were also shared. From the communal rituals of harvest festivals to the epic tales of heroic warriors, these were the strands that wove the fabric of the Kievan Ruses society. And it is this fabric that has, in many ways, shaped the social tapestry of both Russia and Ukraine. The Kievan Ruses era, a seminal period, laid the foundation for the deep cultural ties we witness today. From the mists of time through the annals of history, the shared roots of Russia and Ukraine have endured. Despite the political tensions of the present day, these cultural ties remain robust, a testament to the shared heritage that continues to link these two nations. This, dear listener, is just the beginning of our journey. Stay with us as we delve deeper into the fascinating tapestry of Russian and Ukrainian cultural ties. But what happens when empires rise and fall, carving new borders and identities? Let's delve into an era marked by upheaval and transformation. In the 13th century, the Mongol Empire swept across Eurasia, including the territories of present-day Russia and Ukraine. The Mongol invasion was a period of tumult and turbulence, but also one that set the stage for significant developments in the region. In the aftermath of the Mongol rule, two major powers emerged: the Grand Duchy of Moscow, or Muscovy, and the Union of Lublin that brought together Lithuania and Poland into a single entity. These political shifts began to diverge the paths of Russia and Ukraine. Muscovy, under the rule of Ivan the Great, began to consolidate its power, liberating itself from the Mongol yoke, and laying the foundation for what would become the Russian Empire. On the other hand, much of present-day Ukraine fell under the sway of the Lithuania-Poland Union, bringing it closer to the cultural and political orbit of Central Europe. Yet, despite the shifting political landscapes and emerging borders, the shared history and cultural elements between Russia and Ukraine remained intact. They continued to share the Eastern Orthodox Christianity, the Old East Slavic language, and a common cultural heritage rooted in the Kievan Ruses era. The tale of these two empires is a testament to how political changes can create divergent paths, yet shared cultural elements can endure. It's a tale of evolution, adaptation, and resilience. It reminds us that while borders may change and identities may evolve, cultural ties often remain, binding people together through shared history, language, and familial connections. Even as geographical and political landscapes altered, the cultural ties proved resilient. This resilience continues to shape the social fabric of Russia and Ukraine, reflecting centuries of intertwined heritage. Fast forward to the 20th century, a time of unity and division. How did it affect these cultural ties? As we delve into the Soviet era, we see a landscape marked by the push for Russification. This was a time when the powers that be sought to blend the many cultures of the Soviet Union into a single, homogeneous Russian identity. The impact of this on the Ukrainian language and culture was profound. Ukrainian, once the language of poets and peasants alike, was relegated to the background as Russian took center stage. Yet, as the Ukrainian culture was suppressed, it was not extinguished. The flame of national consciousness flickered but never went out. One of the darkest chapters in this period was the Holodomor, a man-made famine in Ukraine that claimed millions of lives. This tragic event, etched in the collective memory of Ukrainians, served to strengthen their national consciousness, their sense of being distinct from Russia. While this era was marked by division, it was also a time of unity. Shared experiences such as World War II created a common narrative. Both Russians and Ukrainians fought side by side against a common enemy. They shared the grief of loss, the joy of victory, and the relief of peace. These shared experiences, painful as they were, served to bind the two cultures together even as political forces sought to drive them apart. The Soviet era, with all its paradoxes and contradictions, was a time of both unity and division. It was a time when the cultural ties between Russia and Ukraine were tested, strained, and reshaped. Yet, through it all, these ties endured. The shared history, the shared suffering, and the shared triumphs left an indelible imprint on these cultural bonds. The Soviet era, with its complexities, left an indelible imprint on the cultural ties between Russia and Ukraine. In the present day, political tensions run high, but what about the cultural ties? As we navigate the complexities of the modern world, it becomes evident that the political landscape can often overshadow the rich cultural roots that bind nations together. This is particularly true in the case of Russia and Ukraine. Despite the mounting political discord, the cultural ties between these two nations remain remarkably robust. These ties manifest in many forms, the most obvious of which is language. Russian and Ukrainian share a common linguistic ancestry, and Russian remains widely spoken in Ukraine, an enduring symbol of their shared history. This shared language not only facilitates communication, but also fosters a sense of kinship, a tangible link to a shared past. But the connections run deeper than language. A myriad of familial connections crisscross the borders, weaving a complex tapestry of interpersonal relationships that transcends political boundaries. These familial ties, formed over centuries, continue to bind the people of Ukraine and Russia, forming an intricate network of shared experiences and mutual understanding. Moreover, shared cultural practices, from culinary traditions to folk dances, provide a common ground, a unifying thread that weaves through the fabric of their societies. These shared traditions serve as a reminder of their common roots and shared heritage, a heritage that remains resilient despite the political animosities. The influence of Russian media and pop culture in Ukraine is another testament to these enduring ties. Russian films, music, and literature are widely consumed in Ukraine, further emphasizing the cultural interdependence of these two nations. This interplay of culture, reflected in media consumption, reinforces the shared identity and common heritage of the two nations. It's critical to understand that these cultural ties do not diminish the political tensions. Rather, they exist alongside them. They serve as a reminder of the shared history and the strong bonds that have weathered centuries of change. Despite the political divide, the cultural ties remain robust, a testament to their shared history. So, where does this leave us now, and what does this portend for the future? As we've journeyed through the mists of time, we've traced the shared roots of Russia and Ukraine, from the ancient empires that once ruled their lands, through periods of unity and division, to the current era of political tensions. Yet despite these strains, the cultural ties between these two nations remain robust. This cultural kinship is deeply rooted in shared history, language, and familial connections. It's apparent in the similarities between Russian and Ukrainian languages, both stemming from the same Slavic roots. It's seen in the shared literary traditions, with the likes of Pushkin and Shevchenko, who remain revered figures in both nations. It's felt in the sounds of the balalaika and the bandura, traditional instruments that have strummed the same tunes for centuries. These enduring bonds have shaped the social fabric of both nations, creating a sense of shared identity that transcends borders. Even amidst political tensions, these ties persist, a testament to the strength of cultural heritage. Looking towards the future, these ties may continue to evolve. They may be strained, tested by the pressures of politics and changing global landscapes. Yet, if history has taught us anything, it's that culture often endures where politics falter. The connections between Russian and Ukrainian peoples, their shared history and culture, are likely to persist, shaping the future in ways we may not yet fully understand. In the grand tapestry of history, the cultural ties between Russia and Ukraine remind us of their shared past and their interconnected future.